is Mike White going to leverage people getting cameos on White Lotus for hidden immunity idols? And if he doesn't, I'm going to be very depressed because I can't wait to talk about Mike White.
Dude, my favorite Mike White moment in Hollywood, it's not White Lotus. It's not from his first time playing Survivor. It's his cameo in Zombieland. And if you know what I'm talking about, this is one of the funniest parts of the movie Zombieland. And if you've never seen Zombieland, go watch it. But at the beginning of the movie, it's like 5 minutes into the movie, they're like running through the initial rules of Zombieland, and you do this, you make sure you don't do this, XYZ. And one of the rules is like be careful in bathrooms or something. And Mike White is just taking a shit in this bathroom during a zombie outbreak, and a zombie comes under the stall and fucking eats him. It's hilarious.
Hey, when you gotta go, man. I don't blame him one bit.
And in my family, like me, my brother, my dad, we love that movie. And so when Mike White played Survivor for the first time, we were like, "Oh my god, it's the dude that's taking a crap in Zombieland."
See, and the first time he played, I remember seeing him get cast, and I'm like, "Oh my god, it's Ned Schneebly from School of Rock! Like, let's go!"
Yeah.
So, which is funny, so funny.
Are you ready?
As there's a drive in a deep left field by Castellanos, it will be a home run.
You know, they have those nerds clusters, which is new. Yeah, which is good. 10-5, touchdown!
Unjustifiably in a position that I'd rather not be in, but the cream rise to the top, oh yeah.
What are we doing?
Wild long faces. We're not dead yet.
Don't worry, nobody's listening anyway.
Welcome in to Press Box After Dark. It is Friday, May 30th when this goes out. We're actually recording this the night before, so this is going to be the fastest turnaround we've ever done. So I want to see Landon do that the next time he has to produce. But welcome into Press Box After Dark. My name is Hunter. I am joined by Cameron, and we have a bonus episode for you guys tonight. Because if you've been listening to our podcast, and you already know this. If you haven't listened, then welcome in. But me and Cameron are massive Survivor fans, the reality TV show Survivor. And if you don't know, or if you've been living under a rock, Survivor season 50 is coming up next year. And they have gone ahead and announced the entire cast of returning players. And obviously, as fans of the Survivor show, the community has been doing nothing but complaining and talking about and dreaming about what's going to happen on Survivor 50. So me and Cameron wanted to do that as well. Since we weren't recording a sports talk episode this week, we wanted to get on here and share our love of Survivor and talk Survivor 50 cast. So Cameron, how you doing tonight?
I'm good, buddy. I'm glad they put this out.
Yeah, I know. It's kind of crazy. This is I want to say it's the first time they've done anything like this since, I think, Game Changers. I don't know if they put the Game Changers cast out that far in advance. Because everybody knew at Winners at War when they revealed the name of that season, everybody knew that, okay, there's going to be 20 winners. We just don't know which 20 they're going to get. Coming. Yeah, so like that was still exciting in itself, but this was a little bit different. I think it was either Game Changers or Second Chance Cambodia was the last time. But Second Chance Cambodia, you got to vote on who you wanted on. So we didn't get to vote this time, so that was rough. But like I mentioned, we're Press Box After Dark. If you want to help us, our podcast grow, you can follow us on Spotify and YouTube at Press Box After Dark, and then you can check out us on Twitter and social media accounts at PressBoxAD, and you can check out our Survivor blog, Survivor After Dark. We recap every episode, and we actually predicted who we thought was going to be on the Survivor 50 cast about a year ago, and Cameron's going to break that down, but that's Survivor After Dark. You can catch that at our website, PressBoxAfterDark.com. Easiest way to find that's in that Twitter bio at PressBoxAD. So, Cameron, I'm going to let you go ahead and give me just your initial thoughts, and then we'll run through the whole cast, that everybody that's been announced, and then we'll recap what we talked about a year ago on our blog, and then we will give a final three prediction as of May 30th, 2025, which is definitely going to change at least 10 or 15 times by the time this airs. So what were your initial thoughts when you saw the cast?
I mean, for me, it was tough to have 100% completely organic initial reaction to this because there were some spoilers online and some that were accurate, some were wishful thinking. But as we got closer to the deadline of when they were actually releasing the official cast list, we did get some more accurate spoilers, and so I had a pretty good idea of what I thought was going to be the cast. Um, I feel like I'm a little bit in the minority here, just based off of seeing the reaction from the Survivor community as a whole. I actually do kind of like this cast. Um,
Mm.
it it felt like there were a lot of people complaining that they wanted more old school players, people that they haven't seen in a while, some more representation from earlier seasons. But when you take a look at it, I mean, number one, it's 24 people, so it's not like they're doing 18. They upped the cast by
Mhm.
6 people, so I think that's a positive. You're giving more former players a shot, and then they also, I mean, they split it up perfectly. They did 12 old timers and 12 from the new era, from season 40 on, or not season 40, but 12 from, I believe it
41,
was.
the new era, the 41 to
Yeah,
49.
yeah.
Yeah.
Um, but I actually really like this cast. I think it's a good mix of personalities. You have a good mix of the old school players like Jenna, Cerise, Stephanie, Colby. Um, and then you got a good mix of the new school. You got 2 people that we don't even know about yet. That's kind of been spoiled as well. I think you got the Riz God on there, and
Uh,
I can't remember the other lady's name.
I think it's
Um,
I think it's Stephanie, but I might be wrong on
Yeah,
that.
I think you're right. I think you're right. And then we also have 3 people from this previous season, season 48. Um, so it's a good mix. It's a good all around mix. Um, I think if I were to critique and I guess throw some shade at all on the casting process at all, I think they do. Number one, they miss a bit of a gap in the 20s. Um,
Mhm.
Now there a lot of the seasons in the 20s were returners anyways, who had played in from 1 to 20. Um, so a lot of the good options in the 20s would have been people who were old school anyways. So I don't throw too much weight into that, but they did miss, I guess, a little bit from the season 20, and then the not season 20, but from the 20s. Um, and then the only other critique that I would have is that I don't necessarily think that we needed winners on this season. I know that they didn't come out and label this as a second chance season, but I think it would have been really cool to have all of these people coming back for a second chance. So I don't necessarily think that we needed uh, D. D is a great winner. I think she's a phenomenal player, one of the best new era winners, if not the best.
She's my pick
Um,
for the best new era winner.
yeah, I would. I have no problem with that label at all.
Mhm.
And her owning that title, she's great. But I wouldn't have minded seeing someone else, even from her season, getting that spot. And then Kyle as well. I love Kyle. He was on my fantasy team, and I loved his style of gameplay. Um, and I loved his relationship with Camilla, but I really loved Camilla's game as well, and I was hoping to get to see her play the game without Kyle. Now, there's no guarantee that they'll be on the same tribe, and we can talk about
Right.
that a little bit, I
Mhm.
guess, as well. But
Yep.
um, but yeah, I would have liked to have seen Camilla play the game without Kyle, just like Joe is going to get to play the game without Eva.
Yeah.
So
Let me
maybe those 2 spots we could have swapped out, but outside of that, I really do like this cast. I think there's some really great personalities, um, and diverse personalities as well. There's some strong people, some strong personalities on all sorts of ends of the spectrum.
Oh yeah. Let me you started out positive. I'll start out with my negatives first. I'm gonna echo a little bit of what you
Sure.
said. I think my biggest gripe with this, my initial, like, as soon as I saw it, as soon as I watched the 4-minute video of Jeff doing the parchment of all their names, obviously there were a lot of leaks. It's Survivor. It's going to leak. I saw leaks and I was like, okay, this is probably the cast, but let me just wait and see. But when he was reading name after name after name, I was initially really upset. And here's why, is because they build it as Survivor 50 in the hands of the fans. We're going to celebrate 50 seasons of Survivor. And the one thing that you touched on that I want to highlight that was my biggest gripe was there's 12 new era players and there's 12 old school players. Why did we not call this Survivor 50 old school versus new school, old era versus new era? Don't call it a celebration of 50 seasons of Survivor if you're not going to give me a representative from each decade of seasons of Survivor. You missed a whole window. You missed the 20s through the 30s. There's players that I would love to see again from that era. There's players that I know that were rumored to be in the casting process that didn't make it far or didn't get it there, to the point to where they got on. And one of my favorite people that I watch almost every day on TikTok is Kelly Wentworth. And, I don't think she's ever going to get to play again. And that's a bummer for me as a fan of her. And it's a bummer for her as well because, her Survivor story is just done. But, never say never. But that was my biggest critique, is that it was supposed to be a celebration of 50 seasons. And it is more looking like it was new school versus old school, which is something I do want. But tell me that. I think that was my biggest critique, is like, if you were going to do that, just tell me. And I think a lot of the fan backlash from the initial casting would have been a lot more subdued, because you have a cast that's 12 and 12. You have a cast that is firmly split down the middle, and then you can divide the tribes however you want to divide them. But that to me was my initial, like, man, this is what they went with. But the longer I looked at it and the more I looked at the players and the more I remembered the moments, there's a lot of good players on this cast and there's a lot of really, really good personalities. My favorite part about it, stay with me here. Normally, obviously, most people are regarded as the greatest season ever is Heroes versus Villains, season 20, right? You had a clear-cut group of heroes and some slimy, bad villains. We have a couple of bad villains, but one thing I really like about this, we have some sneaky villains on this cast. We have sneaky villains on this cast for days, and I love that. I love that we have some sneaky villains. I feel like this cast overall is going to get along, but there's going to be a little bit of that pettiness that I need in Survivor. Like, I don't need the kumbaya. You get voted out, everybody stands up and hugs you, and then we all go over to Jeff, and Jeff hugs you, and then you get a s'more when you walk off camera, and you go to Ponderosa, and it's all great. All that stuff's fine and dandy, but I do want to see somebody just get mad, like, I think that's why season 46 was my favorite of the new era, because it just seemed like everybody, when they left, was legitimately pissed. Now, half of it was because they all had an idol and they didn't play it, but I want to see that, and I think we're going to get that from this cast. There's 2 of my all-time favorite players got on, so I'm happy for them. And then the one thing I'll say about the new era players, I have no problems with the new era players they picked, except for, I'm going to echo what you said about Kyle and Camilla. Give me just Camilla, because I'm very interested to watch Joe play his own game without Eva. I want to see Camilla play without Kyle. So I really hope they're not on the same tribe, because it's a death sentence if they are. So I really wanted to see just one. If you were going to do 3 from 48, why not do the ultra heat magnet that is Say? Just put her on there. A lot of people would have hated it. I would have been one of those people. But you can't argue that people were gravitated towards her because of
it would have been good TV.
She has the record for the most confessionals of a pre-juror ever. So, I mean, she was very much a very important player in 48. If you were going to do,
wasn't it like 70 something?
Yeah, she was on
some ridiculous number.
She took up so much screen time, and I think that's why I got annoyed by her so much. But like, you can't ignore the facts that she was entertaining to watch from the standpoint of, like, there are people that loved her, there are people that loved to hate her, and then there's people that just respected her game because she was doing a lot to stay alive, and she really didn't have a lot on Vula. So if you were going to do 3 from 48, I wish you would have done that instead of Kyle, but that's okay. And then my last gripe, the 2 players from 49. We've already talked about their names. I know nobody is excited for season 49 because everybody is going to talk about 50 for a calendar year. I am upset that you're semi-spoiling 49 because now we know for sure that these two players, because if the leaked cast with the two players of the Riz God, if that's what he wants to go by, and I think her name's Stephanie. I could be wrong there, or Sophia, something like that. I have to look at that. I saw Riz God and I rolled my eyes immediately because that's all we've seen of this kid, and that's all I know. But those two players, I assume, are at least at worst making the jury. So to me, that's kind of like you're spoiling 49. Like, these two players have to do something monumental to get a slot on 50 because they're not just going to give a slot on 50 to two random people.
I agree with that, but and that was my initial reaction too. But then I saw a different take on Twitter, actually. Now, I do agree that they're not going to put they're not going to put two people from 49 on season 50 who don't deserve it, right? So I initially had the same reaction of, okay, well then Riz God and Stephanie definitely have really good seasons in 49, but that might not be the case. They could be someone like Say, who is just super polarizing and gets voted out pre-jury. I think you also have to take into account if this is someone from 49, if these are two people from 49 who went super deep in the game, maybe even make the final three, that is a super tough turnaround for them to film 49 and then just because they just finished 49 a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, and they're about to film 50.
And then they're going out to 50 like right now. That would be really tough for these two people if they had really good games in 49, made it really far, and then immediately, like a couple weeks later, have to turn around and film again. So that's my only thought, is that maybe they didn't do as great as you may think, but maybe they're good enough characters to make it good TV. I think that's another thing you have to keep in mind here, is that it's a TV show at the end of the day. It's a game show, but at the end of the day, it's also a TV show, and CBS wants people to watch at the end of the day. Okay. So if they're not great players, then CBS at least wants you to come in and watch.
So I think we're getting her name wrong. So it's definitely, the leaks are true of Riz God for sure. So I think it's Sage is her name. I might be wrong there. This is supposedly I'm looking at the 49 cast as a whole, and I can't remember if it's Sage or Savannah. I don't know which one it is. I'm trying to find it, but we're going to find out. So that was my biggest gripe on the two players from 49, and my biggest gripes overall. Do you want to just run through the whole cast real quick? I'll rattle them off and tell me if you like it or not. I mean, we genuinely we like it. So I mean, but let me just rattle off the whole cast. Give me some thoughts if you want to. So they did at least get somebody from Borneo season 1. I do appreciate that. Jenna is back from season 1. She also played on season 8 All Stars. Colby Donaldson is back from Survivor Australian Outback. He also played on All Stars. He also played on Heroes versus Villains. Been on TV a lot.
That one was interesting in my opinion because I didn't know if him and Jeff had a good relationship or not anymore.
See, I think from what I remember, him and Jeff get along great. The whole Snickers thing with the Snickers bar or whatever, the free chocolate, that has been memed to death, and I think that was just Colby being Colby. So people forget, too, the funniest part about that whole encounter is that Colby got so mad about that, he ends up sitting out that challenge. He doesn't even play. So that's the funniest part about the whole that's the funniest part about the whole bit. My Survivor crush as a middle school kid and forever my Survivor crush. I'm so glad that she is. No,
I'm just kidding.
Sorry, no offense to Sari. No offense to Sari. Beautiful mom. Love you, Sari. But my Survivor crush from season 10, Palau, season 11, Guatemala, the most slept on season in Survivor history, and Heroes versus Villains. Stephanie is back. I knew when she was on Traitors that she was going to get to play Survivor one more time and make middle school Hunter's heart just explode. So
she's the definition of outlast too. I mean,
yep,
being
100%.
on a tribe by yourself is insane. So I was happy to see her name as well.
Palau's a great season as well. Then we have the GOAT, the best player to never win, Cirie. Started her career on Panama, Exile Island. She's also played on Fans vs. Favorites. She's also played on Heroes vs. Villains and Game Changers. She is tying a record with the next person, Ozzy, who is also on Cook Islands, Fans vs. Favorites, South Pacific, Game Changers, and now this one. Both of them have played. Now this is their 5th time. They tie Boston Rob for a 5th time playing.
So quick thing there with Ozzy. Obviously a fan favorite. I was really excited to see him just personally. You mentioned that Stephanie was your middle school Survivor crush. Well, I think Ozzy was my mom's crush. When I was growing up, I remember being in elementary school, middle school, watching Ozzy play, and my mom's like, "There he goes. Dude's a challenge beast," and my dad's sitting there like, he's all right. He's all right.
He's not swimming that fast. I don't think he's swimming that fast. That's amazing. From Tocantins, from Heroes versus Villains, from South Pacific, he made a TikTok a couple days before the leaks got out that he had been cut from the cast as a swerve. It is probably the truest villain on this cast. It's Coach.
Oh yeah, the Dragon Slayer.
Aubrey is back. I know she's one of your favorites, right?
I love Aubrey. I was seeing a lot of hate for Aubrey on Twitter, and I don't get it, man. She's a likable player.
Here's my thing about Aubrey is that, like, when you look at her in all of her seasons, all 3 of them, she got worse in each season as far as final placement. And I think it's because she played so well in Ko Wrong that her threat level is going to be through the roof. And there's a person later on the new era that already has got his eyes set on Aubrey. I know he does from comments he made during his season. So Aubrey's going to have an uphill, mountain to climb there. Somebody that I'm not the most excited for her, but I'm glad that she is getting another chance to play. Chrissy from Heroes versus Healers versus Hustlers.
Challenge Beast.
Challenge Beast. I can't wait to see her back. This is my second favorite player. I said I had 2 favorite players of all time that got on this cast. Stephanie was one. This is my second one. Christian, the brochacho, the nerdy robotics guy from David versus Goliath. I love this. I love this so much. I can't wait to see him. He is such a puzzle wizard, so he's going to be an asset to any tribe that gets him.
And his interaction with Jeff and that standing challenge is one of the best that we've ever seen.
Yeah,
on the show.
And then
he's like, Jeff, I got you as my captive audience. That's amazing.
I have a question for you on our next participant. Cameron, can I borrow your jacket? Cameron, can I borrow your jacket? Because Angelina's back from David versus Goliath as well. This is to me is like one of those other people that like needed another chance. She's been mean to hell and back, so I really hope that she has a jacket. Is really what I hope. Because if she gets one, she might go all the way.
And I stayed silent there because that's exactly what she got from Natalie was crickets. And
then, so Natalie was somebody that I saw on like leaks that she was like deep in the casting process because they wanted to put both of them on there together. So
that would have been a bad move.
I think so too, but it would have been funny for TV. Obviously, we've touched on him a bunch, but he's probably the most excited that the general public is to see play Survivor. The creator of White Lotus, Mike White, is back from David versus Goliath.
I think if you're a Survivor purist, this is probably the weakest player on the cast.
See, I don't know.
He did nothing in his season. He got carried to the end. I mean, he's a likable person, likable player, but he didn't really do anything. He didn't have a very strong game.
That's true, because Nick does beat him and Angelina at the end. So, I could see that. I like Mike, though, a lot. I think you said this. I don't know if this is your favorite player of all time, but I know that this is one of your tops. Rick Devens is back from Edge of Extinction. I just rewatched that season. Great player.
Great season.
He's so good.
A great season. He's one of my favorite players. And look, I can I can appreciate people who have the exact opposite opinion of him, because some people will say, well, if there was no Edge of Extinction, then we wouldn't even be calling for Rick Devens to come back and play again. He'd be a nobody. But because of the unique season and the situation that he was put in and that every other person on his season was put in, that's kind of my opinion there, is because everyone was under the same conditions. I think that qualifies. I think that backs his game, because, I mean, for him to stay on Edge of Extinction the entire game, grind his way while other people quit on the Edge of Extinction, and then to come back, win that challenge, and then he put himself on the stand to make fire, didn't he?
No, so he gets back in at the midway point, and then he ends up finding about 18 idols in the woods, because he almost had an idol every episode, because he was just an idol magnet, because he had to have them. And then
he was winning challenges too.
And then so when Chris Underwood gets back in the game, I think that's his last name, doesn't really matter. Chris gets back in the game. Him and Chris end up aligning, because that's really Chris's only move. And then at the final four, he knows he has to put Devens in, because Devens the clear front runner at that season, but Chris ends up putting himself in against Devens in fire. Devens loses in fire to Chris. Chris gets the win over Gavin, which I could waste about an hour talking about how ridiculous that win is, but I'll save it for a later date. But Devens does deserve a chance to be back on. To our new era stars from 42, husbands, hide your wives, because Thor, a.k.a. Jonathan, is back, and I can't wait to see if they don't give me Jonathan versus Ozzy in a swimming challenge on the first day, then why did we even film this season?
Got to.
God, they got to. It's going to be so good.
So the one thing that I'll say about Jonathan, a lot of people reference that water challenge that he was in. He's carrying the ladder by himself. He's literally putting the entire team on his back. Here's what a lot of people don't mention about that, and gets lost in the shuffle a little bit, of how big of a moment that was in Survivor. Marianne obviously goes on to win that season. If they did not win that challenge, Marianne was likely on the chopping block for that vote. And they won that challenge. Jonathan literally putting the team on his back quite possibly could have saved Marianne's game. And then Marianne ended up winning that season. So
this is why
he literally, it's the butterfly effect. Him winning that challenge, I think, ended up keeping Marianne in the game.
Two things there. One, this is why you and me get along so much, because we have a lot of the same opinions on Survivor. Two, it is so fun to rewatch seasons because you find butterfly effects. If you don't know from listening to our Sports Talk podcast, I run the majority of our socials. Everybody has access and everybody tweets, but I normally tweet a lot because I just love Twitter. I have tweeted that multiple times, that my hottest take in Survivor is that if Jonathan and Marianne are not on the same tribe, Marianne doesn't even make the merge of 42. Because if you go back and look at her game in the pre-merge, it is not good at all. And she is luckily on a tribe of Challenge Beast, and they get her through the pre-merge part of the game. And then she's able to do a good job of finding a good niche for herself to lead her to making her big move at the end to take the win away from Mike, because you and me were big fans of Mike. That's somebody that could have got back on this season that I would like to see. But we'll move on. 2 from 45 got on. I think, what was her last title? I think it was financial analyst. Emily is on. Was that her title?
Was it investment analyst? I can't remember.
Investment analyst. She does something with banks and numbers. I don't know. Emily's great. She's had one of the greatest arcs in New Era, because as soon as they got off the boat, because that's the only returnee we've had in the New Era, was Bruce. Because he was on 44, he busts his head open and gets medevaced, technically. So he busts his head open, he gets medevaced, and so they bring him back on for 45. And Emily, from like within 5 minutes of the game even starting, she's like, this is unfair. I don't like this guy at all. Puts a huge target on her back, ends up turning her game around and becomes one of the most lovable people of the New Era. Good to see her. Also from 45.
Hold on. I know we're going to talk about it a little later, but I think Emily is my sneaky pick to go far in this game.
I like it.
I just think there are so many other bigger targets. And I think by the time that she got to the post-merge game, she really started coming into her own. Number one, she turned a corner and, turned a new leaf and was a likable person. But number two, she was really figuring out how to play the game and then got voted out. So I think she has a good shot to come in. Obviously, it's going to depend on who gets put on tribes together and who wins challenges has to go to tribal. Obviously, all of that stuff is hard to predict, but I really like Emily. I feel like there are so many strong personalities here that people are going to target, and I feel like she could potentially fly under the radar a little bit.
I agree with that too, because you got a lot of people that are going to be massive targets from the moment their foot hits sand. And I think she's got that personality that's likable enough, and she can fly under the radar long enough. I think that's a good idea there. Winner, D, we already touched on her and how dominant she was. From 46, we have 3 players, Tiffany, Q, and Charlie. Of the new era, I think Charlie is the person that deserved a chance to play one more time more than anybody because of the controversy. Should have won the season.
I love Kenzie.
I love Kenzie.
She played a great game, but I think Charlie deserved it.
And I'll tell you what, I mean, I legit do love Kenzie. I think she's liked a couple of our tweets. She's very great on social media. I love her to death, and she's a great winner. But Charlie did everything right, and Maria turns on him in the end. He definitely deserves another chance to play. Q is both you and me, when we were going to do that article a year ago about who we thought would get on, both of us immediately Q for sure. Mississippi guy at heart for me, so I love that Mississippi's being represented, even though he lives in the Memphis area now. I cannot wait to see how much chaos he causes, and I want so bad to have Coach and Q on the same tribe.
The two personalities are amazing. That's what I was kind of alluding to earlier when I was just giving my initial thoughts. There's so many different personalities. Those two, Coach and Q, might be some of the most polarizing just characters that we've ever seen on Survivor. And Q, a lot of people hated Q. I came to love him because he had such an FU attitude at the end of his game to where it actually got him further in the game. His attitude actually got him further in the game. To a point where he was almost about to turn it, and if he would have just played his damn idol, he could have won that season. But anyway, I'm excited to see him.
Yep, the ultimate smoke screen.
I'll be interested to see if him and Tiff get to work together, or if they choose to not work together. Who knows?
We'll see. From season 47, Genevieve gets on. I like Genevieve a lot. The one thing, though, is that Genevieve has to be the Genevieve of the post-merge. She cannot come out and be as slow as she was in 47 at the start. She's got to come out and hit the ground running, because if not, she's going to get eaten alive by some of these players that are on this cast.
I do think so. With Genevieve, I do think in a normal season of Survivor, you don't want to start playing too hard right away because it's an immediate target on your back. This is different, though. With everyone being a returner, you've all got a target on your back because everyone knows you outside of 49, those 2 players. So everyone knows who you are. Everyone knows your game. Everyone knows your personality. They've seen it. Some of these people, we've seen it multiple times that they've played. I think in these seasons, I think you do have to come out and play hard right away, because if you don't, you might get left out. You might not align with people. Some people might want to try and fly under the radar, but early on in the game, I think you do have to play a little bit harder than you would in a no returner season, if that makes sense.
It does. She's capable of doing it. I just hope she does it well and makes it pretty far, because I do like Genevieve. And then
she's an interesting one, because she was one of the most likable players ever, and then was also a villain at the same time.
Yep, that's really good. It's one, like I said at the beginning, it's those sneaky villains. We have a lot of sneaky villains on this cast. No, just outright, I'm a villain. I hate everything. I hate everybody. Just some really good sneaky under the radar villains. And then to round out the ones that we know, obviously we've touched on them a bunch here, so we won't touch on them again too much. But Camilla, Joe, Kyle from season 48 that just wrapped up last week. And then our 2 mystery, not so mystery, 49 players that we've touched on as well. So overall, like we said, we have our gripes, but I think overall I'm going to give it a thumbs up. I think, Cameron, you're going to give it a thumbs up as well.
I'm absolutely going to give it a thumbs up. I think my last thoughts there on the season 48 people with Kyle, Joe, and Camilla. Keep in mind, again, the people for this season 50, are going out to film essentially right now. And the last taste of Survivor in their mouth is season 48. Obviously, they haven't seen season 49. They won't know the results of that. I'm assuming they won't know the results of that when they go out there. I don't know if they'll tell them.
Ooh, see, that's gonna be interesting because I mean,
like, are they gonna tell them where Riz God finishes?
Yeah. Well, I mean, here's the thing though. Like, I didn't think about this. What if the winner of 49 is on 50? Because it's never happened, because we only had two winners ever, two people to win twice. But it's never even, I don't even think it's ever happened to come close where somebody's won back-to-back seasons of Survivor.
That would be crazy. But yeah, like what if Riz God wins Survivor 49 and then they don't tell the other cast members what happens, and then Riz God comes onto the show and lies like, I was pre-merge. Like, I don't know what that'll be like.
That's interesting. I like that because the fans will know, because we will know.
Yes.
And then the players on this season will know.
It'll all be retrospect.
Yeah, it'll all be retrospect, because they'll be like, oh my God, he lied to us the whole time. Assuming it's Riz God, we don't know. It could be the girl. So, I mean, we don't know.
But they're going out there. The last taste in their mouth of Survivor is season 48. I think Kyle, depending on how at least initially in the game, I don't know how initial tribes are going to work out. I don't know if they're going to do 4 6s or 3 8s. I probably lean towards 3 8s, but however they split it up, Kyle, Joe, and Camilla are going to be, in my opinion, I think are going to be the biggest targets right away. Kyle, number 1, because he won. Camilla, number 2, because she worked directly with Kyle and everyone saw how great of a social and secretive game that she played. And then Joe will be a huge target as well, just because he is a challenge beast.
Yep.
So he may not be a target right away if teams are going the traditional route and want to stay strong to win challenges, but Joe is going to be a target as well, in my opinion. So I think the 3 from 48, in my opinion, have an uphill battle.
They do. Why don't you recap, because you got the stats. I mentioned it a couple times, and then we'll do our winner picks and we'll get out of here. So me and Cameron, almost a year ago to the date, so I think we posted in July last year. As soon as they announced that Survivor 50 was going to be a returning player season, obviously everybody on Twitter was like, oh, I want so-and-so to be cast. I want so-and-so to be cast. Here's our dream cast or whatever. I told Cameron, I said, hey, we have this blog. Let's just cast who we want. I'll cast 9 old school, you cast 9 old school, and then I'll cast 9 new era, and you cast 9 new era. Now, at this time, we had not seen 48. We had only seen season 47. But I said, let's do this, and let's see how accurate we are. Cameron has the numbers, and we're about to prove to you guys that me and Cameron kind of know what we're talking about.
I don't think we had even seen 47. I think we had only seen up to 46.
Maybe. I don't know. Oh, yeah, that's right. I think you're right
last
there.
Summer. Before the fall. So
yep, you're right.
So yeah, keep in mind when we put these lists together, we had only seen up until 46. So 3 full seasons of Survivor that we're missing heading into 50, essentially. We put together our list. We both put together a list of 18. And in total, out of the cast of 24, we had combined 8 players correct. Which, in my opinion, we were talking about this before. In my opinion, I think that's pretty good between the both of us, considering that 5 of the people on this 24-person cast are people that we didn't know about. They're later than season 46. So there's no way to predict that. So then you're left with 19 players, and we only named 36 different ones, and 8 of them were correct. I think that's pretty good. And it was pretty split down. It was perfectly split down the middle between us. Both of us had 4 correct, and we each had 2 old era and new era. So Hunter had Stephanie from season 10, 11, and 20. He also had Christian, season 37, Jonathan from season 42, and Charlie from season 46. And then I had Aubrey from 32, 34, and 38, as well as Devins from 38, and Emily from 45, and lastly Q from 46. So it's tough to predict. We obviously didn't know that it was going to be 24 people on the cast either, or else we may have picked a few more. But so many seasons, hundreds and hundreds of people who have played this game. So for us to get 8 of the 24, a third of the cast correct, I think is pretty good.
That's pretty good. I'm patting my back. Hey,
I'll
go
do it,
check
yeah.
out go check out our blog, Survivor After Dark, on PressBoxAfterDark.com. We're going to be recapping every episode of 49. We're going to be recapping every episode of 50 as well. We'll try to do some fun stuff in the summer as well, just to kind of keep the Survivor page up and going, and try to connect with people, just any way we can. I mean, it's been fun these last couple of weeks because you had the finale of 48, and then you get the cast announcement of 50. Survivor community has been great. We've been throwing jokes out on Twitter. We've been interacting with some folks, and it's been really, really fun. So we'll wrap it up here, Cameron, with I don't want a winner pick because I don't want to – there's too many people to just narrow it down to one. Do you want me to go first or you go first? I want your final 3.
Okay.
So you want me to go first or you?
You can go first.
Okay.
I'll put you on the spot.
You can bat first. Okay. All right. Now, I think that we are going to get a classic. The old school is going to hate the new school. And I think that we are going to have a flipper. And I think that one of the new school people is going to be carried to the end and be that 0 vote finalist because they flipped. So I'm going to go a little bit of a homer pick here because I picked him to be on the cast a year ago and I already said he's one of my favorites. I'm going to go Christian. Somebody I'm really excited for that I didn't think I was going to be this excited for. Chrissy. And I think my flipper, you talked me into this because she wasn't there, but you talked me into it. Emily. That's a wild final 3. I like it, though. Christian, Chrissy, and Emily's my final 3. I don't know who would win because I don't know any of that stuff at this point, but I feel like Emily's going to be that under-the-radar person that might get in with everybody. I could see her maybe flipping if it's a new school versus old school kind of thing. I mean, her last name is Flippin or Philippian, something like that.
Flippin.
It's in the name. It's in the name. See, how could it not?
Philippians.
Philippians.
Philippines.
Yeah. It's
Philippines.
Philippines. It's in the name. So, all right, those are my 3. Who you got?
I got Emily as well. I already kind of leaked that. Survivor, we leak things.
Yeah, can't wait till she's the first boot.
Oh yeah, it's already sorry Emily, you're gonna be the first boot now.
Yeah,
I got her, and then homer pick here. I already said he was my favorite player, one of my favorite players ever at least. Devins. I just want to see him do well so bad because he's good in challenges. He's got a great social game. He's gonna be working his ass off to find idols, and he's also just one of the most entertaining people on Survivor that we've ever had. Which, by the way, have you heard the quote? It never made it to the air, but apparently there was a quote from Rick Devins in his season where someone was like, "Oh, my name is blah blah blah," and it was like what was the dude's nickname on his
War Dog
season? War Dog. He was like, "Yeah, I'm War Dog," and Devins and then Jeff asked him what Devins' name was, and Devins was like, "You're not going to believe this. My name is War Dog as well." And it never made the air. I don't know how that didn't make the show, but it's rumored that that's how they got introduced. So Devins is just on top of just being a great all-around player, he's also hilarious and just great for TV. So I'm hoping he does well. So I got Emily, Devins, and then I do kind of agree with you. I think the old people are going to struggle. Particularly the first 3, Jenna, Colby, Stephanie.
You keep Stephanie's name out your mouth.
From the time, well, I think Stephanie's my 3rd pick here to make it.
Oh, okay.
To the final 3.
Okay, never mind.
But I think those 3 though are going to have the toughest time adjusting to the game because Now, obviously, they've played multiple seasons, but a lot changed from the very early seasons to not even just now, but just like 10 years, 5-10 years after they played. Once you got past season 10, so much about the game changed, and that they may not be used to, especially with how the new era is. Now, obviously, the fans got to vote on some things, and so there might be some more old era tendencies that come back if the fans chose to go with those. But if there are some more of the new era factors in the game, I think some of the older players, like that top row and that the top six, Jenna, Colby, Stephanie, Sari, Ozzy, Coach, those players might struggle with some of the new era players. I do kind of agree that the old era and new era players might butt heads, go against each other. But I think there's enough new people from season 30 onward to kind of outnumber the old people. But I do think that you're going to have a couple people from the older seasons make it through. I don't see Coach making it through because he's too polarizing. He's too big of a target. Same thing with Ozzy. I love Ozzy, but I don't think people are going to let him make it very far. Sari, who knows? She could be first boot. She could make it to the final 5, but she's not going to be sitting at the end because they will not let her. And she ain't winning immunity. So then for me, it's the last 3 of Jenna, Colby, Stephanie that really have a chance. And I think Stephanie, with I mentioned it earlier, with her ability to outlast, I think she could be the person to make it far in the game. So I like Stephanie as my third and final spot there in the final 3. Emily, Devins, and Stephanie.
I like it. I like Rick Devins the most, I think, because he's so just like nonchalant with it and jokes the entire time when he's out there or when he was out there. And then if you listen to him on the On Fire podcast that he got to host that season with Jeff, he's just a really funny personality. And I like to think that if I ever get cast, I'm going to do the same. Not be as good as Rick Devins, but like literally just sit there and try to make as many jokes as possible on camera just so I become a likable player. But I like it a lot. Very excited for Survivor 50. This will air in 2026, so we have a long time to get there. But if you enjoyed this podcast and you enjoyed us talking Survivor, we really appreciate it. Give us a follow on Spotify and subscribe to our YouTube channel, PressBoxAfterDark.com. It really would help us out. You can also follow us on Twitter, where we're tweeting stuff about Survivor, tweeting stuff about sports, and whatever else comes to our mind at PressBoxAD. And then in our Twitter bio, you can find our website where weekly blogs that we've been talking about. Survivor After Dark is our weekly blog when we have episode recaps and whatever Survivor topics we want to talk about. That's PressBoxAfterDark.com in that Twitter bio. I'm excited for season 50. I'm excited for any season of Survivor, even though I know I said no one's looking forward to 49. We are, because it's more Survivor. But that's all I got. My name's Hunter. Cameron, do you have anything else you want to add?
Nope.
All right. Well, with that, Cameron has spoken, and Jeff Probst, cast me for Survivor 51 or 52, please. I'm begging you. Just give me a chance.
Do it, cowards.
It's time for the Sonic drive of the game. And perhaps as far as I'm concerned, the drive of the game may be our drive home from Starkville to Tupelo.
You can't fire me!